The Play Action podcast is fueled by Picasso's Pizza, where every night is pizza night.
The Buffalo Bills have started their 3-week segment of spring football, also known as organized team activities. And we are here to talk about it at the Play Action podcast. We actually have a lot to talk about here, even though it's mid-May. We've got a little game show segment here to give clashing opinions on certain issues facing the team. But let's start out, Catherine, with the practice that was open this week, and talk about a little something we learned from this week's segment or someone interesting we talked to.
Yeah, I like this time of year because it gives us a chance to start getting to know some of these new guys who have joined the team since March even. We've done Zooms with some players, have talked to some of the rookies in person, but, it's getting to put actual introductions together and start talking to people and writing stories off it too. So I think that's always an exciting part of this time of year.
Okay. Yeah. So how about, why don't you go first? Tell us about somebody we did lots of interviews, but tell us about one of them, an interesting guy you talked to.
Yeah, I talked to Austin Johnson for a bit, starting to write a story on him that will be out sometime next week, but also just getting to know the players that we're going to cover too, like I was saying. But it was funny. I asked Sean McDermott about him first, and he mentioned he's funny. Like, he's been liking to get to know his sense of humor. Austin said that as well, of how the defensive line as a whole is such a funny group that you've got to be able to kind of like jump in and be a part of it as well. So he was saying that, like, if someone dishes something at him, he'll dish it right back.
He's an interesting guy, a signee from the Chargers in free agency, and the primary backup to Daquan Jones. And I think he's kind of a key backup, and I think they're hoping that he is better than last year's person in his position, Tim Settle, and he's a run plugger. I think there's a reason to hope that he's better. What does he think about being in Buffalo from the L.A.?
So far, he's
Penn State guy, right?
Yeah, he and Daquan played together in college too, which was a big part of his. He said Daquan is an excellent recruiter and getting him here. But he said this is one of the easiest teams he's ever been able to fit in with, and it's been a short period of time just getting to know them too. But he was saying. It's so easy to fit in here. He said this is a very, very rare locker room that you get, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Penn State. The Bills got a bunch of Penn Staters here, so fight on State. Guy I talked to who I think is a real kind of under-the-radar interesting guy is offensive tackle Lyle Collins. This is a guy who really had his career rolling in Dallas. And in 2019, Dallas gave him a $10 million a year contract, which made him the number 4 highest paid right tackle in the NFL. He was playing at an extremely high level. Then had an injury, went to Cincinnati, played well for Cincinnati in 2022. And when, the Bengals were rolling, even though he had some health issues, but he still played like 15 games, then got hurt, missed the playoffs. And his injury was huge, major knee injury in December of 2022, tore all his ligaments, ACL, PCL, MCL, everything blown out. And now he is 18 months removed from that. He will be 19, 20, like almost 20, a full 20 months removed from that injury or 21 by September. And he says this is the best he has ever felt. And he is a quintessential right tackle. Backup offensive line was not even discussed last year because all the starters played the whole season.
Yeah.
But you would like to have somebody. He has a potential, if he's all the way back from his injury, he is a high-level number 6 offensive tackle to back up Spencer Brown. And last year, Ryan Vandermark, the swing number 6, the third tackle, they didn't have to play at all because everybody stayed healthy. So this potentially gives the Bills a lot more insurance at offensive tackle.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we had the OTAs on Tuesday, yeah. Wednesday, the players were out in the community doing different events. I was at the same one as Collins, too. So
Oh.
getting to hear from the players at that as well. It was every single Bills player was out in the community on Wednesday. And so there were some guys, they tried to mix it position-wise of who was at each school.
Oh.
So it was interesting too, on top of the Tuesday conversations, getting to hear from the students at a question and answer session at Lackawanna High School where I was at with the players and got to learn some about them there too. So yeah, Collins was definitely an interesting guy for sure.
Yeah, he's a vet. He's a pro's pro. He knows what it's all about.
Let's talk wide receivers for a bit. I think that's something we're going to talk about probably throughout the summer. Just what this team is going to look like next year after shaking it up so much. And we started to get to know some new guys this week at OTAs, like we were saying before, in the wide receiver group specifically, too.
Yeah, I think just watching practice, just one thing that stands out is the eyeball size. I mean, they are. You think back to like the bill we wrote a lot, 2019 and 20, about a team roster of Smurfs at wide receiver. They have a lot of trees. There are 6 guys who are 6'3" or 6'4", and 4 of them rank in the top 6 or let's say 7 of the depth chart. Yeah. So. One guy, some interesting guys. Obviously, Gaughan Coleman, their top draft pick, a ton riding on him, and we'll be talking about that a lot. But a big addition was Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who is 6'4", and who runs 4.37. So this was a key. I think he clearly is number 4 penciled in number 4 on their receiver depth chart, and he gives them insurance if somebody gets hurt or if Gaughan needs time to ease into a big role. I'm not going to say that MVS is the answer to all their prayers. But because he's played with, he's sort of the wingman to the superstar quarterbacks. His whole career has been with Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and now Josh Allen. Oh my God! So he can pick them. But he hasn't produced. I mean, his average catches over his career is 31 catches for 520 yards or something like that. So, but he does give insurance.
To your point on the quarterbacks, I liked a lot that he said they must follow him around
when
it comes to MVP quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But he's connecting with Josh Allen already. He was telling us on Tuesday that his first day here on his visit, Josh brought him over to his house for dinner. So he and Josh Allen connecting right away, getting to interact a little bit more, and that always helps on the field too.
And that's, one thing in spring practice, and really it's another thing for fans to look forward to in training camp is, passing is something that is easy to watch and
Yes.
and pay attention to, especially because they're not, a lot of the practice, no pads. And a spring ball, it's really about a passing. You get to see, I thought it was encouraging. One thing about Gaughan Coleman is he can catch the ball. He's not a guy, there are questions. Will he separate? Can he develop his route running even better against elite cornerbacks? But he plucked some ball. Their ball wasn't on the ground. He made a couple nice catches. Yeah.
Yeah, we heard from Chase Claypool too, another later addition to the Bills, who was pretty honest and just, saying what it's like to come here to try to, restart in a sense, but also coming to a winning program and how exciting that is for him.
And he's really trying to resurrect his career. Second round draft choice, I believe. Anyway, he had, he had 63 catches his first year, 59 his second for the Steelers, and then he bounced around 2 teams, only had 16 catches last year. Between the Dolphins and Chicago. So he is really trying to resurrect his career. And there, as another guy who's an interesting guy, is one of the little guys, and that is KJ Hamler, Penn Stater. He was a high second round pick of the Broncos, runs 4.35. I mean, I loved him at Penn State, but he has not stayed healthy at all. So it's a blank slate. I mean, who knows, whether he can make a push.
No, and we've got lots of stories coming out about these guys, I believe. You're writing one, Jay's writing one, Ryan's writing one, all on receivers. So definitely plenty of coverage on that.
Okay, for our third segment, we are going to jump into a spring football game show and give each other some rapid-fire questions of spring football topics that are interesting to the Bills right now as we are still 6 weeks away from training camp.
Yeah.
So I am going to go first. Katherine, we talked a little bit about the interesting wide receivers on the roster. We are going to write down independently our answer to our first question. Chase Claypool, the big 6'4" talent looking to revive his career. Percentage odds, Chase Claypool makes the team. We are writing down our answers. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's show it. I've got 20%.
Oh, I went 70.
70.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know that I feel that strongly, but I think just kind of, you look at how it shook out the first couple weeks. I think he could make an interesting run for it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I am bigger on Justin Shorter.
Okay.
I'm optimistic on him. So you got the second question.
Yes, top 3 position battles on this team right now.
Okay. Quickly writing down our 1, 2, and 3 answers. Are we ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1. You go first.
I said linebacker, assuming Matt Milano is not ready to start.
Ooh.
So that's kind of, they are still unclear on whether or not he's going to be, but I think they play it safe if he's kind of 50-50.
Yeah.
So I'm curious who's starting alongside Bernard.
In training camp, at
Yes.
the least, and in preseason. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
And also because he's not practicing yet. If it was, obviously, there was more involved in this injury. If it was just
Yes.
one broken bone in the leg, he'd be practicing by now. There were other damage in there
They
that,
described
he's
it as
not.
a very weird injury.
Yes.
So that's
All
a
right.
cautious look at Matt Milano's not ready to go.
Okay,
Next,
I've got number 1 as cornerback, and that's your number 2.
That's my number 2.
Yeah, Kyer versus Christian Benford. Fascinating.
Yes.
Number 3.
For 3, I had RB2.
Okay, I like that one.
Oh,
That
you had
is
safety in there at
I
number
had
2.
Actually, I had cornerback 1. I had safety 2, which is Cole Bishop, versus Taylor Rapp versus Mike Edwards. I like Mike Edwards to start, and Cole Bishop maybe ekes out Taylor Rapp. You've got number 2 at cornerback. You've got RB2 as the third, Ray Davis versus
Ty Johnson.
Ty Johnson,
Yeah.
who Ty Johnson was really good. That's going to be interesting. I got number 3, going back to our number 5 wide receiver. Who's it going to be? Is Claypool going to hang on? Is Shorter going to step up and win that job? Okay. Next topic. Number 3. Von Miller gets 10 or more sacks. Percentage that happens. Von Miller gets 10 or more sacks this coming season. Obviously, if Von Miller gets 13 sacks, the Bills are winning the AFC East. I don't care that. Von Miller, 10 or more sacks. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 10%. I got 79%.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going way, way, way out on the limb there. I'm going with the old guy. I think he's far enough removed. I think Von's going to have a big season. Next.
Yeah, I think it gets split a little more across the line.
Ah,
That's part
yeah,
of
yeah.
it for me. On top
Okay.
of being curious what he looks like this year, I think
Yeah.
I also, I think it's going to be a bit more of a mix.
Yeah, well, I'm not don't readers and viewers and listeners don't offer to make wagers with me. I'm not putting a lot of money on it.
No,
That's my answer though.
Don't waste your money on our
79%.
May predictions.
Okay, next.
Let's jump outside the Bills for a second. Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to play 15 games or more this season? Percent odds on that.
I would say Jets fans, if they're saying if Aaron Rodgers plays 15 or more games, they're winning the AFC East. Aaron Rodgers, I believe, is turning 41 in December.
Yeah.
Coming off just a minor little Achilles tendon injury. 40-year-olds bounce back. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I said
46. I
46.
got 80%. So I'm on the old man train here.
Yes.
I am riding the old man train with Von Miller and Aaron Rodgers. I think my perception is Bills fans would be on your would say you're right. Most Bills fans I talk to think there's no way he's playing 15 games.
15 just feels like a lot, but
Okay. Number 5, punter. That is a low-key position battle,
Yes.
is at punter, where Sam Martin is trying to rebound from a subpar season. Punter who makes the team. Write down your name. 3, 2, 1. Martin, I got Hawk.
Yeah.
Matt Hawk, former punter of the Bills, great holder. I'm down on Sam Martin after his subpar season.
I stuck with Martin, but I think it is, like you said, it's an interesting battle
Yeah.
to be talking punters again in May.
Yep.
Last one, Bills win total. Now, we made these predictions for a roundtable recently, too, so I'm
Right.
curious if we'll end up on the same answers. But
Right.
let's see Bills win total for this season. And
Here we go. All right. 3.
2,
Yep.
1. You said 10, I said 11.
Okay. Yeah. The Vegas over-under is 10.5.
It is.
So I'm
Right
taking the
between
under.
us.
You're taking the over. It's going to be close.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so, too.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we'll see if any of those predictions shake out to be correct. We'll be podcasting plenty more and writing a bunch between now and then, too. But, some of these we won't know until the very end of the season.
Yeah.
So make sure you're subscribing wherever you get your podcasts and reading on buffalonews.com.
Treat your team to the most flavorful pizza on game day at Picasso's Pizza. 4 great Western New York locations: Williamsville, West Seneca, Lancaster, and Blaisdell. Picasso's. We are Buffalo's Pizza since 1980. Order online today at picassospizza.net.